Hey guys, so we got something different today. We were supposed to do a couple of old PCs for December and it never happened, and this thing arrived literally yesterday, so I thought we'd have a look at it and maybe see if we can actually not only get it going properly, and maybe sneak in a few upgrades. So we've got the world's chunkiest power supply here, 10 volts at 2 amps, 11 volts at 2.1, so this has a separate charge. Let's have a look on the back. Don't know if you'll be able to see that. So we've got all sorts of pins there, 2 battery pins, system in use, ground, system voltage, and various other things. So this is not a run-of-the-mill power supply, and thankfully we've got it. I have had it powered, it does run, it hasn't gone bang. We should probably check it for the polystyrene mains caps, so we'll potentially have a look at that in a minute. The machine itself has this horrible, I don't know if you can hear that, horrible texture that a lot of machines of this age had. It is yellowed. It is filthy. It's a tiny, still going the wrong way for you. It is a tiny little grayscale screen. I assume it's grayscale, it may only be black and white. We've got a nice feeling keyboard, but we can see someone has tried to get in here already. What else have we got? We've got a hard drive hidden in here. I have had this out already to look at it. It is an 80 meg Connor peripheral drive. Let's give you a closer look at that. It doesn't smell great, if I'm honest. It does spin up. It does appear to do something, so we don't know quite what the situation of that is. And then under here we have a nickel cadmium battery, which is lovely and crispy. There are plenty of signs that this has leaked everywhere. There's fluid in there, that's not a good sign. So if we're going to do anything with this, this is going to need replacing. It's 7.2 volts, 2.8 ampere hours. There are 6 cells in there, and yeah, that has leaked. It doesn't look like it's gotten any further though, so we'll leave that out for now. Turning it over, we have nothing. On this side we have the power switch, a floppy drive and the DC input. On this side we have an external keyboard and a lock to hold the hard drive in, so I obviously intended you getting at that fairly easy. That keyboard lock looks good. That one is busted. On the back we have not one but 2 COM ports. VGA out, which doesn't appear to work at the moment, although it may just be something unrelated. We have a printer port and we have an external AT bus, so that's all we've got. It does work, and what we'll do is I will plug it in and prove that to you, but that is about as far as we can get. I can't use the video capture on it. It isn't giving me a VGA output, and I assume that there is a shortcut key for that, but I'll be stuffed if I can find it. That's booted straight up, and I don't know. You can probably just about see that. Let's zoom you down a bit. So as you can see, we've booted up. We've got a faulty CMOS battery, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Can we make that any better for you? I don't think we can. I'm hoping once we actually get into an operating system we can probably get a monitor output on it. I think that's about the best we'll do. We can go into the CMOS and set things up. Let's zoom you out. Unfortunately you are just going to have to watch me here. I'll tell you what it's up to. So we're in, we can move around, that's good. You can probably just about see some things. Maybe if I prop you up like that. And you can sort of see stuff like that. It's quite awkward for me. So standard CMOS setup, and this keyboard is not happy. So I'm guessing we want type 47. I have already looked up this drive, so we've got 540. Okay, it's going to be like that, is it? 4444 5 5 5 5 right, okay. So the first problem we're going to need to address is this keyboard. It's really not working right. Thankfully, here's one I prepared earlier. I expected to be digging around to find my AT keyboard stuff for absolutely ages. Turns out I was wrong. We do need to plug this in with the machine turned off, otherwise it behaves quite strangely. And we also have over here a bootable floppy disk, which I know is good. So let's get back up into that setup utility and get that hard drive sorted out. Obviously we're going to need to sort out sooner rather than later this CMOS battery. So we've got 548. 5. Come here. Let's try again. 548 cylinders, 8 heads, and 38 sectors of track, which gives us 81 megs. I can hear the drive, so obviously that at least is good. And let's have a floppy drive as well. It'd be nice to think there's something on this drive. Right to CMOS, yes. So at the moment we're doing reasonably well. That doesn't sound great. Oh, disk controller failure. Well, that's not a good start. Let's shove a floppy in it. Oh. Well, that's not the noise a floppy drive should make. And that's not working either. Okay. So, what's becoming increasingly clear here is I think we need to take this apart and see what's going on inside it. Right, someone has tried to brute force in there already, so that's not great. I'm guessing the hard drive needs to come out. Okay. We've got one screw on the top that doesn't seem right. Bear with me, let's go get some tools. Right, let's see if we can't get into this. This does smell quite strange. I have had a quick look online for information on this and I really can't find anything. That's the only screw we've got on the top. What does that do for us? Nothing. My guess would be the standoffs would be next. Yep. We have screws in there. I'm going to need to find another screwdriver for those. We've got them in the back, maybe. Everything is quite old and starting to biodegrade. Yep, we've got screws in all of these holes. These haven't quite turned to mush yet, but there are quite obviously keeping an option open on it. Not a magnetic screwdriver. And we've got a fifth one we missed there. So these were quite common at one point. These were sold to retailers, small computer retailers like this Orac Systems, as kits or configurable systems, so you could pick exactly what you wanted, whether you wanted colour screen, monochrome screen, how much memory, what processor, and you either get a kit of parts to put together like you would a normal PC, or it would come configured for you, and they were quite common for a while. it's kind of lived on with Clevo doing something quite similar. So a lot of cheap and independent branded laptops, such as Novatech, Out of Time, Tiny, Time, and all of that, used Clevo chassis to make their machines. Right, okay, we have movement. Now, what do we do first? Let's see, this keyboard comes off, and we've got a ribbon under here. So that ribbon was just popped in there. That actually looks like key switches in there. That might be a problem, because that's going to make actually servicing that and making it behave. You can see how brittle this tape has gone in here. But that might make service a little difficult. Right, what do we see in here? I did find my pointy stick tidying up the office. Let's move you over here and bring you down. So we have 4 30 pin SIMs. We have a processor under there, I guess. Chipset. We have a 50 megahertz crystal in there, so this says it's a 425SX, so I'm guessing that is a 48675SX. Shall we have a look in there? There is a little buzzer there. It is indeed a 486SX. Now we've got support for DX. I wonder if we've got support for DX too. So that might be a little upgrade we can look at. Right, I'm going to plug it in because I'm just curious as to the noise this floppy drive was making. Where did the floppy go? There it is. Definitely not the kind of noise a floppy drive should be making. So we'll take that out because we're going to need to look at that. Not overly sure what we'll do if this drive doesn't work, because although I know I've got drives, I don't know that I've got anything quite like this. Why would that be making so much noise? Let's just turn that on again, see what it does. I'm kind of looking at this spindle here. Guessing that's the disc spindle, but nothing's happening, so we are almost certainly going to have to do some surgery on this. So that isn't moving, but I'd have thought that was the spindle for the drive. Right, okay, I think that's all seized up, so that's probably going to be gunged up with dried grease and stuff, so we'll need to look at that. I don't know what our options are if that doesn't work. Oh, yeah, that's the trouble with this heatsink stuff. Tell you what we're going to do, we'll put that heatsink back on. We don't really need it for an SX, but we'll put it back on because that actually stops me from getting covered in heatsink goo. It looks like it's a very small board, and I'm not sure it goes all the way across. So we've got 3 screws across the top here. These are all M3s. I'm guessing that this ribbon is going to have to come out as well, so we'll take that out in advance. I'm going to zoom you out. Let's forward a bit more and we'll see what happens now. So that's coming off. So we've got more ribbons under here. We've got an IDE ribbon under here. And you have power. So let's take this power one off. We've got a backlight inverter. Oh, there's all sorts under here. And I've just seen the cause of our CMOS battery problem, which is going to be a major pain in the backside. Can't get the IDE ribbon out. I think the easiest way around these inverter cables will be to take the inverter out. You can't really see what I'm up to up here. There's no easy way to get you in here. So there's our inverter. That no doubt is our LVDS to the screen. Doubt it's LVDS. So that just leaves us with a hard drive cable that doesn't want to separate up here. Let's just see if we can give this a little bit of assistance. So what I'm going to do is gently pull on it and gently lever on the bottom of the connector as well. There we go, that's coming up. There we go, we're out. I don't know that there's much we need to worry about on there. So you've got an LED board, a battery board, and that's about it. And there is our mother. So we've got something over there with a ton of thermal grease on. We've got Cirrus Logic graphics, I think. CLGD610 with possibly 128 or 256k video RAM, and then everything in here is pretty much what you'd expect from the era. My biggest concern is this. That's a off-the-shelf Dallas Timekeeper. Any of you that work on retro systems will know those well. Jumper wise, what have we got? JP2, which should be, that's 2 to 3 486 SX, so we might want to see if we can find a DX processor somewhere. We've got, let's have a quick look here and see what we've actually got. So we've got our chipset, we've got our RAM. I'm not sure what RAM that is. These are horrible plastic clips, and they weren't good when they were new. There's no sign of what they actually are there. I think they're 1 megs. Yeah, so we've got our chipset there, we've got our keyboard controller there. Mystery Oki chip, that's to do with the keyboard as well. So you've got the keyboard controller, and then this will be for the matrix. Clock synth here with lots of 2 pins shorted. I think that's just the way it's gone together. We have a 27C010, so that's our BIOS there. We have an NMOS chip here, that might be the DAC for the VGA. ASA, that's the multi-IO, and then we've got our IDE there. So what do we do next? We're going to need to take that off the board, or we're going to need to hack a battery onto it. I think some of these had pins on the bottom for the battery, so we might need to take this board out and have a look at that. I'm curious to know what that floppy is doing, so we need to look at that. So I think the plan of action is we'll take the board out. We're going to take this floppy apart. I'll potentially do that next. We're going to need to address that, and then going forward it would be nice to have the hard drive working, but I think what we're actually going to do is use one of these with a compact flash. We'll probably rebuild the battery connector. I'm hoping the keyboard will come back. It might do. Mystery GAC there, and I think we'll give it all a damn good clean. We've got a power supply here. I don't think there's anything that needs looking at there. Those caps all look good. I don't see any signs of leaky caps anywhere. Nope, nothing has leaked. So the board I think is definitely salvageable. Now my question is if we power it up without an LCD, will we get a VGA screen? course, we've got no LEDs now, so we don't know if it's up to anything at all. Ooh. Nope, it tried. So everything we want to do, we're going to have to do on the built-in screen until we find out what the keys combination is for that. Now, there's no real identification on this board anyway, which is not going to make tracking it down any easier. So yeah, I think we will start where we need to go on. So let's just quickly pop that floppy apart a little and see if we can see what's going on in here. Zoom you down. So these are normally just clipped on. So it's normally fairly trivial to get the lids off of these. If this drive is dead, then I'm going to need to think about other options. Take this apart a bit more. I don't know if something like the GoTech that a lot of the Amiga and Atari guys use is an option for this. It could be, I guess. This ribbon is going to be the killer. As I said, I have standard floppy drives, but I don't have any of them. These ribbons get fragile as well, so we'll get rid of that. Oh, we've lost the bezel as well. It's just working out how to get this all apart. There we go. So, okay, well, it's immediately obvious to me what that noise is, and I'm quite surprised, even when I drive this old, I can't really get you down there. But if I get you in, so if I tilt this one way or another, no, it's actually quite hard to let you see what's going on in here. So we've got the spindle, and then just in here there is a belt that goes over that idler to this motor here. So I'm surprised to find it a belt drive, but that might jibe with the fact that it feels like that spindle is stuck, and it is indeed very stiff, and the belt is really not in a good way. So we might be able to rescue that, but we're going to have to dismantle the whole drive to do it. Not something I'll say I'm mad keen on. So we'll need to lift this entire deck out. I'm just trying to see how we do that. So we've got screws in there, so we need to disconnect the heads and the motor, undo those, and then how else do we get it out? Does it all just lift out once that's off? It certainly feels very solid. But I think fixing this is going to be our only way forward. We can lift that motor out. I think the belt has actually snapped. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, fixing that is going to be interesting. Have to think about that. See if we can find one. That now does actually appear to move, so that's fine, and I can spin it. So that's free. We've got our idler in here. That spins nice and free. So where did that go? That went around the edge of there, so I reckon we can guide that in over there. It went around the back of that idler. So I think the only bit that's likely to actually be a problem is going to be that motor. I don't have anything small enough to get that right now. Oh, maybe I do. I can feel the motor moving, so I'm sure these are out, they just don't want to. There's one, there's two, and our motor is out, and our sticker is off. So it's a little PCB motor type thing. Just gently pull that out of there. So yeah, there's gunk on that, and the motor itself, oh no, it's one of those. It is a proper PCB motor. That doesn't feel that great, if I'm honest. Let's very, very light lubricant. That's better. Right, so we're going to need to find a belt. So that's going to mean working out what length this used to be, and then ordering one. I know I've got a lot of belts, but I don't have any really tiny flat ones like this. And this is the question, is it worth doing it, or do we look at something like a GoTech? I think I need to do some research on this. So I'm going to stop you here. Yes, I'm going to stop you here. I will go do some research, and then I will probably bring you back for the next part once we've got a belt and once we know we're going with the rest of it. What we'll probably do is take the board out as well in the next one. Thank you. Bye. So I think the last thing on this particular video is we'll have a quick look in here. I've only got the one glove on, so what we'll do is we'll just pick a gap between the batteries and slit this. I know this is not going to be good in here, but it would help to know what kind of batteries I need to go and look for. So we've got two layers here. I can see that there is definitely fluid in here. There's nothing on the gloves yet. That all looks good in there and safe to touch. Anything on my hand. It doesn't actually look like it has leaked. I think it's just an optical illusion. So we've got 3 cardboard cylinders here with impregnated paper ends. That's one down. Just pull the other off and let's see what we will see. So looking at that end, I'm off centre. That's because my sticker's gone. There's definite corrosion in here. I can see we've got corrosion. That's glue. That's not. That is corrosion there. And on this end, definite signs there. So what kind of cells have we got here is the next question. Let's just slice this open. Nothing in here is going to be salvageable. I mean, NiCads are one of the cell chemistries that do not like being discharged and kept below a certain level. So these are almost certainly going to be toast, and I can see we've got issues in there as well. So yeah, to rebuild this pack, I've got spot welding equipment, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We are most likely going to be looking at nickel metal hydride. So what have we got going on power wiring wise? We've got a negative, we have a positive, we have a thermal cutout there, and we have a device down there, which I'm going to guess is going to be an LM340. It's all held together with hot snot as well. Nothing wrong with that. Yep, that is an LM340. If it will focus. There you go. So yeah, I mean this pack is eminently rebuildable. There is no sign of any fluid on this glove, so I'm happy handling it. So we're going to need 6 of those cells. We can just spot weld them into a pack. I would suggest that we probably do it a slightly different way to the way they do it. That cell's bulged. But I'm almost certain these are dead. I'm not going to bother metering them. There's not really much point in even trying to see if they're any good because they have leaked. So yeah, so we'll get the bits to build a new cell, and or get the cells to build a new battery, and then provided the machine is rescuable, I think that's quite rescuable as well. Right, I'll leave you to it. I need to go do some more research on the rest of the bits we need, and we need to try and find that and a timekeeper. Take care.